This podcast is sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing. Currently, you can get free delivery on all orders over £40 and 10% of all online orders by using our code of TakesThatChance10.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance! Brady down the left and Moy stayed onside. Here's Mounier! 2-0 Huddersfield Town on the opening day of the Premier League. 1-2 wicket Tunga. Here's Moy, right-footed. 1-0 Huddersfield Town. Lindelof misses his header. De Quattro's in. Round De Gea. 2-0 Huddersfield Town. 2-0 Huddersfield Town. Here's Sanka to turn it into the pass. Yes! And Tommins scored. Tommins has scored one of the most important goals of Huddersfield Town's history. De Quattro's forward. De Quattro's got the better. Yes! And Laurent De Quattro scores. Laurent De Quattro scores.
Right, okay, let's try again. Okay, Riverside, let's go on with this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the... I loved it. I love it. We'll just let my guests laugh for a bit here. Welcome to the warm-up, episode 18. Joining me, your host for today, Brady Frost. We've got Phil Senior, a man who takes to podcasts like water off a duck's back. How are you, Phil?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for coming on. And also notice the water joke there. I know you're getting over my my singing there, but anyway.
Singing.
Oh, don't you, mate? Johnny, Phil and I is someone who's dipping his toe into this podcast for the first time. It's Tom Bradshaw. How are you, Tom?
I'm all right, mate. I feel like I'll be about as useful as Alex Bruce's loan spell at 10.
Oh, Alex Bruce.
Everyone loves Alex Bruce, don't they?
God.
I remember him when Steve Bruce were our manager. He used to bring him in, and he used to train with us at the academy. Wasn't very well received.
That guy. Anyway, right. Okay. As you can see, this is going to plan as always. I'm going to set the scene anyway, lads. As much as I love to talk about Alex Bruce, we're playing Middlesbrough. As I'm sure you know, everyone's looking forward to another match after Wickham. Boro are 9th in the table with 40 points going into this game. 7 points off certain for relegation, Huddersfield Town. Just thought I'd add that in. Boro coming to this... Yeah, I know. Crazy league. Yeah, Boro coming to this game in bad form, having won just once in their last 6 games, which was a 2-1 win over Forest. And they have lost 4 in the last 5. Obviously, when we played these last, it was a great 3-2 win. Do you remember that when we used to win, lads? So I'll come to you, Tom, soon as you're making your debut. What did you think of the Middlesbrough game when we last played? And also, what do you think of Town recently? I'm sure it's a glowing reference.
Yeah, it's completely different, isn't it? From what I remember, it was quite a difficult game, that Borough game, wasn't it? I think we kind of let it slip. Did they score a couple of late goals? To be honest, I can't remember too much about it. That was when we were actually playing a bit of decent football, though, wasn't it? And we didn't look scared. We seem to have gone, at the moment, we just seem scared of playing. So I'd say that's my summary of that one, Brady.
Getting off to a real positive start. Yeah. We had loads of laughs at the beginning, and now it's just Phil, what about you?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, I don't see much of a change in performances. To be honest, I think the performances have been pretty consistent through the season. I think it's kind of the specific instances in a game which we tend not to get right. So if it's a game where we do get it right, we tend to have a positive result, and I think that's the most frustrating thing, because you look at our performances and we're happy at times. It looks good. It's exciting. You know, you look at a number of people's opinions and it is exciting football, but it's when certain things, I mean, you know, silly passes from centre halves across face at goal and mistakes from crosses or corners and set pieces, little things like that just spoil the kind of performance. And I don't think from where we were, in terms of the last Middlesbrough result. I don't think we're that far off. I just think there's little bits in between that kind of aren't going our way, which is frustrating. So yeah, that's what a torrid run they're on as well. You know, it's going to be a cracker, isn't it? Really, you couldn't have put a better game on Sky. It could go either way, couldn't it? It could be absolutely horrendous or just a goal fest.
No, well, this is it. I mean, to be honest, last time coming into this game, Boro had the best defence in the league and then conceded more than 3 goals, and look what happens. So, yeah, maybe that's a good omen. Who knows? But yeah, it's interesting just to talk quickly about the game against Boro where we won 3-2. It was kind of a bit like our season, really, in terms of like we did what was, obviously we're on a bit of a bad run at the moment, but we went ahead. We looked quite well. We were 2-1 for age, and then we gave away a silly penalty. I think it was Naby Sarr because he loves a slide tackle in the box, and it looked like it was over. But then Karoma popped up with that winner, so it was a bit of a good game. But again, like I think you're right, Phil. That, I mean, to be honest, Bristol's the second half against Bristol, which we've banged on about. It's last time we seemed to play quite well, but yeah, just a bit of a bad run for both of these teams, which normally means not a great game.
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong. So I'm actually going to come to you again, Phil, because we're looking at Boro, Warnock side. Who have you picked as a key player for Middlesbrough?
Well, I think Warnock's your first one, even though he's not a player. Every time you come across a Warnock team, I mean, I feel that they were like one of the first managers I started, obviously, following with Town. And it always puts frighteners up because he's always going to pull some out of the bag. But obviously they're on a bit of a bad run. So I had a couple of players that kind of stand out for me. The first one's a young lad, Saville. I think he's just kind of a box to box. He gets up and down the pitch and he works hard. And he's, it's the kind of player that I feel like we miss at times because he has got a knack of a goal here and there. So he's one, but I don't know if he'll start. I think he started the last game, but Watmore. For the reason being, I've played against him when he was at Altrincham when we were at Halifax, and I wouldn't say he's a massively talented player. He's just an absolute horror to play against because he's dogged. He's quick. So what worries me is that getting him behind us. I mean, I don't think there's many teams that do get in behind us, to be honest, which is strange with the pace that we have at the back. But I do just worry that someone like that can pounce on a chance and kind of, well, as you can see, don't take many chances against us really to knock a goal in. So, those two really that kind of stand out. What about you, Tom? What do you think?
I was just looking. I picked out Watmore because I wondered where he'd gone because he were at Sunderland, wasn't he, for a bit? And he was doing pretty decent there. And didn't he have a bit of a bad injury maybe, which put him out for quite a while? And I always thought he was one of those players, isn't he, that he don't look, when he's running with the ball, he don't actually look like he's a footballer, but he does stuff where he just obviously scares people, I think, when he just runs at him.
Bit of a rogue when he plays.
Yeah, exactly. So he's in my list. And then just looking at their squad, they've got some quality players in it. Like I think, if you have the likes of Howson coming out and having a good game, the Sombalonga up front. Do you know what I mean? If he's on form, if he picks up a couple of goals, the way our defence is at the moment, he could cause a lot of trouble. And then I don't know, Patrick Roberts is there, who's one of these talents that has been banded around for so many years of like, oh, is he eventually going to do something? And it doesn't look like he's really been playing for him.
He's gone to Derby, Tom. Sorry to.
Has he gone? Is he not there at the moment? All right.
Yeah, he heard your criticisms and he was like, "Oh, gonna have to try somewhere else."
But I've gone for this Cabano lad, who's played their last couple of games and he's got an assist and a goal.
Yeah.
In their last couple of games, and I think he's come in recently and doing a bit of tricks. And I think he said recently something like, they haven't won, but he said, I've got an assist and a goal, and now let's go get 3 points. So he might be up for it.
Flash to deceive, don't it? Sometimes results. You're listening to the commentary on iFollow sometimes, and you can hear teams kind of saying, "Oh, we're not at the weekend. Town have got a threat." Not the weekend, sorry, the game before. Town are a threat, going forward, etc. And it's funny to listen to what other people say about your team. because when you're watching it week in, week out, you always have your own opinion. And straight away, we're talking about these decent players from Middlesbrough who are named players, but they could be having an absolute trauma while they're playing. It might be a reason why they're not winning the game. So it's a tough one to call, isn't it, really?
No, definitely. I actually good shout, Tom. I went for Cabano too because he's come on loan for Fulham, and like you say, he's looked a bit of a danger. But I think the thing is as well, obviously before we recorded, we were talking about squads in general, and like you say, Middlesbrough have got loads of good players at this level. I mean, the one who stood out for us when we did this the previous time around was Paddy McNair. I mean, he's a quality player, at this level, like a bit of a Rolls Royce defender, and it's just. I think it shows, doesn't it? Like I say, Ashley Fletcher on the bench. Like they got Akpom, again another striker who's scored quite a few goals, and really there is quite a few, potential threats even off the bench for Middlesbrough. And we'll
wonder what the wage bill's like.
Yeah.
Oh, quite a lot, mate. I imagine. Yeah. Well, I mean, no parachute payments for him anymore, but I bet it's not a cheap wage bill. Look at you. A little grin there. Anyway, we'll come on to town key players. I'll just jump in before, because I love to hear the sound of my own voice. I'm actually going to go for Fraser Campbell because it was a terrible game at the weekend. We all thought that, but I was actually quite impressed with Fraser Campbell in the first half. He's involved in both goals. Had some good stuff, and again, obviously, Danny Ward. We've not seen. He's not going to be fit for this game, and I think we need him to. Much is made of the 5 strikers almost, but I think we need him to have another good performance to get anything out of this game. So he's the one I'm kind of hoping for. And like I say, I thought he until the second half, but I don't think it was just him. He looked quite good. So that's more of a hope, I suppose. Anyway, what about you, Tom? Who have you picked for town?
Well, I mean, key player. I don't know if I've gone for a player who I think can change a game, but I think I've more gone for a player that I think needs to have a good game. So I've kind of got Keogh and Sarr in there, like either or. I think one of them needs to have a really good game just to stop that threat of a Sombalonga. Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know everything about Boro, but they're obviously not doing brilliantly recently. So he's obviously not in his best form, is he? But if he gets a chance, surely he's going to put it away in it. Do you know what I mean? 6 yards out, 5 yards out. I just think they've got to have a good game. That's the bottom line, really. We're not. What are we? Second highest conceded goals in the league, which is just. I can't. When you think about the games, I just can't see how that's happened because we haven't really got whacked by anyone apart from Bournemouth. But
that's a good point.
I look at some of the goals and it is a funny one, really. We never seem overrun.
Yeah.
So it never seems like we're outnumbered at the back and we're struggling to it just. I mean, the goal of the weekend, it just walked through 2-3 players, and pop. To be fair, well, but yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't want to dwell on it too much. It was a great finish. So I can't remember us being under massive amount of pressure and having to defend ridiculously well. You just do your job. Just actually be a defender and just stop them getting past you. Simple as that.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, we've had the most errors leading to goals, so that probably explains why we're low down, in the conceding charts. But
how many goals? Sorry, Brady. How many goals we've conceded outside the box? What about that for a stat? How many goals have we conceded? So how many tap-ins? You should know. You're leading this.
Yeah, come on, Brady.
You're font of all knowledge.
Should have prepped me, Phil. You can't ask random stats.
That's naughty, that, isn't it? Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how many goals we've conceded outside the area.
I don't think it's that much off the top of my head. Like you said, they're all kind of. I mean, I'm just thinking of the Wickham goals, and what was it? Penalty. I mean, Josh Knight. I think that was just outside the box, maybe. But again, he, no one closed him down. And yeah, I said about that third goal, the better. But sorry, mate, I don't have stats to hand. I know you think
I'm only joking.
Amazing stuff.
I don't expect you to know all of that.
Anyway, who do you pick for a key player for town, Phil?
I think Mbenza. I think the way that we're playing at the moment, I think the fine margins. How many times have we said we need to go ahead and score? Well, we scored 2 and we still lost, so we can't use that anymore. But I just think when you're struggling for goals, I think set pieces and balls into the box are really important. And I think he's obviously is he our highest assist player performer within the team, and I just think someone like himself can make a difference in a game if he's up for it. Penalties, corners, free kicks, all that kind of stuff. I mean, why didn't he take a penalty? He strikes an absolutely unbelievable ball. So I have no idea why he's not taking penalties. But I just think those situations there are key. I also thought as well about for like Tom, for the reasoning of Sarr and Keogh. I just think the fact that if we can shore up that defence and not concede, it is a simple game, isn't it? We don't want to sound too boring in terms of like the style of play, but if you get that right back there, then you've always got a chance going forward.
No, definitely. I mean, so we'll move on to the glory, as if it were, or players you had a soft spot for. We'll return to the Mac. Phil, you're not going to sing the intro for me here.
Return of the Mac.
Oh, he did it. Oh, he did it. That's what I like.
Do you want me to give you my player?
Yeah, go on then, mate. You sung the songs.
Me. I think I should come back and play.
Right.
I haven't played for a while. No, I'm only joking. Ryan's doing a great job. I'd like to see Marcus Stewart play. Marcus Stewart was unbelievable. I loved watching the way he played, and every time he broke in behind the line, you knew it was a goal. It was weird. Mm-hmm. He used to sit in line with the. We used to get tickets as young players, and it was in line with the 18-yard box next to the Panasonic in the Riverside, as it was called. And every time he broke through the line, you knew it was going in. You just knew it was strange that season with him and Clyde. It were a great little two smoked top. But I'd love to see him play. I think he'd finish a lot of chances that we hopefully create. So could make a difference.
No, that's a great shout. I think that's a poll winner, mate. I forgot to do the poll last week, actually. Sorry, too distracted. But we will do it this week, Phil, and I think you got a good chance of winning.
And then I can have another, because I just want to see Darren Bullock play again, because I just love watching him play, just smashing and just being angry with people, and just, always entertaining. Okay,
wait. Do you want for the poll? Do you want Stewart or Bullock? You can only
Stewart.
Take one, Phil. Okay, that's a good shout. Tom, what about yourself?
Difficult one. I have got Bullock scribbled down, Phil, because I thought, especially after his rant on Facebook about the players not giving enough effort, and just throw him in there to stick a rocket up their arse or something, it'd be good. So I'm not going to go with Bully, but I think we're there, because I was looking at their squad, and I know they've got some good defenders, but they're all really young, aren't they? I didn't realise how young their back four was, especially the last few games. And I just think putting an experienced big lad on them up front to just bully him, let him have a bit of old school football might scare him off a bit. So it was really difficult. But
you can't say boo there. You cannot say boo if you want someone to bully someone.
I haven't gone for Booby. I've gone for Rocket Ron to come on for this one. I just think get him on there, give him a couple of pulling the shorts down, give him a kick in the back, that kind of thing.
A class one, eh? A class.
So that's what I've gone with today, Brady.
That's lads. These are great shouts. I don't think mine's going to win now. I've actually gone for someone that you might know, Phil. Well, I think you do know. I've gone for John Stead.
Oh, good call.
Well, yeah. Well, I was having a look, and I always like John Stead, and obviously he's at Harrogate now, but probably could still do a job for Town, to be honest, given how many injuries we've had. But I completely forgot how many goals he had in that 03-04 season. Before we sold him, like 18 goals, and we sold him in January. So
it's an interesting shout, is Steady, because it was a grafter.
He was a grafter,
hard, so it linked really well.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I mean, obviously we, on this pod, some of us for Campbell and some of us against. I think we can all say he's going through a bit of a bad run at the moment. But I think Stead does, like you say, he's a bit of a grafter. And the thing is, he can score a penalty, which we've only had 2 penalties this season and missed them both. So I think maybe if you saw Pippa running in and doing a bit of trickery, I'd back Stead to bury it. So I think that's a good shout, though. That's a good free, all of us, anyway.
I think Steady's great shout, Brady, because I remember that season he wasn't even there that long, and that's just the beauty of it, how good he was. And I just remember everyone was scared of him. Every defender just looked. If he got the ball, it was like they didn't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? And yeah,
I tell you though,
the
the most impressive thing with Steady that season weren't so much his goals, because if you look back at some of the goals that he scored, there were scuffy little little bobblers into bottom corners, and a couple of keepers probably could have done better. But it was his, like I say, it was his link up play, his work rate. It was really aggressive. Steady went from a really skinny, like beanpole to and we'd go into the gym in the off season, and this one year he really he really worked hard in the gym and came, and he was a different kid. He obviously tasted that there was a chance for him, and he was a totally different kid. And it was more the strength and the power that he produced. He's not a natural goal scorer by any means, but it was just his desire to win was brilliant. So I think that's a great shout. I might even give you that over Stewie, to be honest.
Oh well, lads, you've done my job
You can't, because Stewie's a legend. So
well, you've done my favour anyway, lads. You've talked him up for me, but let's see if people actually listen to the show, or they just pick the name.
How can you not pick Stewie? Stewie would have led.
I mean, he's going to.
Stewie played for England. You can't not pick Stewie.
Steady played for England as well. We've got under 20.
Yeah, Stewie played proper England. I've played for England. Bloody hell, under 16s. Jesus, Stewie were class.
How dare you disgrace in England under 16s, Phil? Anyway, we'll move on. Obviously, we're having a bit of fun here, but I spoke to Tom from the Boro Breakdown to see if we'd have any fun in the game tomorrow, and here's what he had to say. Cool. I'm joined on the line now by Tom from the Boro Breakdown. Tom, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. Cheers for having me on.
No, thanks for coming on, mate. It's good to hear from other fans. So we'll come on to the match tomorrow. Obviously, before we do, we played each other earlier in the year, and we actually came out 3-2 winners. What did you kind of make of the match and make of Huddersfield in that game?
I thought it was a tough game at the time. I think at that point we were looking pretty solid in most games, so it was kind of a big surprise to see us concede 3 in that game. But Huddersfield looked dangerous on the counter-attack that game. I think, if I'm remembering rightly, there were a few lapses in concentration from our players that game, and we got punished for it. Absolutely did not see it coming that Huddersfield would be in 18th by the time we played again, because at that point I thought you'd be kind of like in and around where we are at this point.
Yeah, well, I think that was the same for us, but unfortunately, it's not really turned out that way. But what's kind of happened for Boro since we last played? Because, like you said, we're both kind of looking good, and Middlesbrough aren't in the greatest form either going into this.
Yeah, I imagine we're both feeling fairly similar at the moment, because we're both 23rd and 24th in the form table at the moment. Yeah, so we had a pretty decent December. We beat Millwall 3-0 at home. We beat Birmingham 4-1 away, and it was looking good. We kind of have a typical Boro fall off in January anyway, which we didn't notice last year because it was just terrible all year, not just January. So it kind of took us by surprise a little bit. I think it was after the Norwich game, Neil Warnock had actually said, I think we'll have a bit more luck in February. So hopefully it get better then, and it hasn't. But yeah, I mean, you just kind of got to look at what's happened over the last month. We've had home losses against Birmingham, Blackburn. The less said about that one, the better, because I think we're still a bit sore about the refereeing decision that didn't happen in that game. It was over in Rotherham, beat us 3-0 at home. We've just been tanked by Brentford last week, and then lost to Derby at the weekend. So, like I say, we're in very poor form at the moment as well, and hoping that can turn around at some point, because after the Brentford game, everyone was kind of really optimistic, which is strange to say after a 4-1 loss. But it didn't feel like a 4-1 game. It's not like Brentford kind of came and completely outplayed us. We set up in a 4-3-3 formation, which personally I wasn't expecting. I'd said on our podcast that we'd probably set up with kind of wing backs and look to nullify them, but we we set up in this 4-3-3. We had Balassi and Cabano either side of us on Bolonga. We went for it and created a fair few chances in that game. And everyone kind of thought, if we play like this for the rest of the season, we're not going to play anyone the same strength as Brentford, so we should be able to get a decent few goals. And then we played Derby last week and then kind of forgot how to create chances and reverted to hoofball for the entire first half. So we don't know. We're trying to find some sort of consistency right now, I think. Hopefully starting tomorrow from our side, but we'll see about that.
Well, I mean, we, as I'm sure you know, we lost to Wickham at the weekend after being 2-0 up. So I think this is probably a good game for you guys. So what are you kind of expecting from the match going into it? I mean, like I say, you must see it as a good chance to get 3 points.
I'm expecting it to be quite a scrappy game. We discussed this on our pod yesterday, and in our predictions, I was like, I think it's just going to end up being one of those games with the bottom 2 teams of the form table. I hope that we kind of play the same as we did against Brentford, but I can see it just being 2 teams trying the best to kind of stop this slump in form and just try and edge a win. I think it might be a 1-goal game either side.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. But if I had to push you for a score prediction, who do you think is going to come out on top?
Well, I went 1-0 Boro on our pod now. I'll stick with that same answer again, purely based on home advantage. I'm still expecting it to be a tough game as it was earlier in the season. And like I said, it'll be quite scrappy as well, but I'm hoping we can just do enough to edge it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I predicted you guys 1-0 in the previous game, and I think everyone was wrong. Like you say, you had the best defence, and we had the best attack. So who knows? But it is live on Sky, isn't it? So I'm sure it'll be a treat for all those neutrals.
Absolutely. Hopefully, it has the same entertainment value as a 1-1 draw against Norwich the other week.
God, well, yeah. Cheers for coming on, Tom. Anyway, and best of luck for the rest of the season. I hope after Tuesday, of course, but I hope it does pick up for Boro because obviously there's a lot of love for Warnock here. So all the best, mate.
Yeah, you guys too. Like I said, didn't expect you guys to be down there, so hopefully you can turn it around soon.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. All right, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Right, okay, so we've heard from Tom. Now we're going to hear from us in terms of the lineup. So we're the coach in this situation. So Carlos is gone, and instead there's me, there's Phil Senior, and there's Tom Bradshaw in the dugouts. So we're going to see who goes for what. So Tom, I'm going to come to you. So what lineup have you gone for, and what players for this game?
Well, what have I gone for? I've gone for the 4-2-3-1 formation. For this game, I've gone for Schofield in net. Then we got Pippa at right back, Sarr and Keogh in the middle, and Brown at left back. Hoping he's fit for it. Then Hogg and Vallejo in the middle. Then,
lovely pronunciation.
And Benza on the right, O'Brien in that kind of number 10 role. I'm throwing Thomas in on the left and then Campbell up front. I mean, it's so annoying because I'd love to put Bacuna or Pritchard in that number 10, but I just don't think they make that team for me because they just don't. Bacuna's annoying anyway as a player. He just annoys me. He's got so much talent and he just doesn't use it rightly. And Pritchard just hasn't made it at Town, has he? He's just one of those players that it's gone. So that is my starting formation.
No, I like it. I completely agree with you, mate. With Pritchard and Bacuna. I mean, everyone knows how much Bacuna frustrates me because, like you say, he's got all the talent in the world, but he's either a 2 or a 9. He's never in between. Phil, what about yourself? Who have you gone for the lineup wise?
God, it's so difficult, isn't it? I was telling you before, I know I'm going digressing here, but my Wi-Fi worked great at the weekend. Did I hear that Hogg moved into right back at times?
Yeah, he was like the third. Well, he was 3-5-2, and he was almost like the right centre back. But yeah, right back sometimes. I mean, Pippa's basically not a right back, is he? He's halfway up the pitch most of the time. But anyway.
Pippa, right back. It's a tough one, is this? Pippa, right back. Kosiraoke, I think you've got a bit of consistency. We need it. So even if it's not doing great, I think the time's gone now for these kids to be blooded back in. I think that should have happened a long time ago. I don't think you can play Hogg and Vallejo in midfield together. They're too similar. Brown or O'Brien left back.
Mm-hmm.
Brown's not played. Last time he played, he looked massively disinterested. He was a bit of a shambles, to be honest, when last time he played. He just does not look bothered at all. So this is the worry, isn't it? I think Thomas left and Ben's right, Campbell up front, got to. I've got here Pritchard.
Mm-hmm.
No Bakuna. He's the most frustrating player. How many times can you just have a conversation about how good he is? Because he is. He's got everything. And then his decision-making is horrendous at times. And then you say it, and then you turn around and 5 minutes later, he's done something unbelievable. So, like, what do we... I think I wouldn't want to be a manager at the moment, to be honest. I really wouldn't. Because I would have no idea which way to go.
There's no depth either, is there, Phil?
No.
Like you're just saying then, but with the left back situation, Brown, like you said, Brown, you could put Brown in, but he's been out for so long. He's got no match fitness really.
My worry is the fact that it was quite crammed at the start of the season, but we've chopped and changed that much that we haven't had a really settled side, and really we shouldn't have to have much of a conversation. It should just be right. This is it, and then. Right, well, do you change Brown for O'Brien and put someone else in there? And that's kind of it. It shouldn't be anything else. And we're not. We're kind of... I don't know if it's because performances aren't great and you want a brand new team in there, but I've got to keep looking at this team and I keep thinking, what else could you change? But the only other thing is the kids. But what a time to bring them in at the moment when it's pretty serious at the moment. But saying that, I know a lot of kids who have come in at that time and thrive. So, oh my God, it's difficult. I don't know. I have no idea. Can we change it for like 1990s Swit team, or can we just totally swap it?
I wish we could, mate. Yeah, can you imagine Stewart and Jepson instead? Bloody hell, big right.
Like a mix. Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah. Something, wouldn't it?
That'd be great. So I've actually chucked some of the kids in because I've gone through 3-5-2 just because I think the issue we have, and obviously we talk about it on every pod, but like you say, squad depth and whatever. I think with Toffolo out, I think we should switch it up. And clearly it's not been working the last couple of games. So I've gone Keogh, Sarr and Critchlow as the back three. I'm disagreeing with you, Phil. I am putting Vallejo and Hogg and Holmes as my three, but then I'm having Pippa as kind of my right midfielder because let's be honest, he pretty much bombs forward all the time anyway. And I am putting Thomas in. Interesting that we've all picked Thomas for this. I was wondering if that'd be a bit of a interesting one, but he has played left wing back for Boro Wood. I know it's a massive step up, but I remember when we signed him and chatting to the Boro Wood fans, he's actually really good at set pieces like corner delivery and free kicks and stuff like that. Which again, I'm not professional. You were, Phil, but I think if you're good at set pieces in the National League, surely you can be half decent at them at any level.
Oh God, yeah, definitely, yeah. It don't make a difference where you play.
No, so I fancy him as well because he seems to be loving Huddersfield. Tom's gone.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
I think he disagrees with you.
Yeah, he's had enough.
Do you know what, Brady? I forgot about Dwayne Holmes.
Have you? You know,
which I don't know if that's a positive thing or negative. Whether he's not kind of, I don't know. He's obviously not my first name on the team sheet. So I forgot about him. I think I think I'd probably put him in behind Campbell. Yeah,
I think with Holmes, he's Tom's back. I think with Holmes, they're playing him as like a number 10, but like for me, I think like Stephen Jenkins said it today in that podcast, he's better as kind of like what O'Brien was doing last season, where he's like kind of deep and then breaks forward.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on with Tom, but I can stall anyway. And anyway, so 3-5-2, and then up front, I've gone for Campbell, but I've also gone for Kieran Phillips because we've heard how amazing he is, how many goals he's scoring, and I think Like, why not? You know, if it doesn't work, I think the reason I've gone for this is I've left out O'Brien. Let's try and limit Tom. I left out O'Brien. I left out Mbenza. You know, I've left out Bakuna. If these guys are on the bench and it's not working, you can bring them on. And for me, Bakuna, as frustrating as he can be, sorry, he was good under the Cowleys as a super sub. So I think there is options. But yeah, that's kind of where I've gone for. Tom, are you back with us?
Would you think about moving Pippa over to left back and Bakuna right back? Would you ever think about that?
I mean, that's a good shout. I think the thing is with Bakuna, you just don't know what game you're going to get from him. And what kind of concerns me with Bakuna, and especially with a Warnock team, is Bakuna likes to tackle, and when he gets tackled, he doesn't like it, and he kicks off and he pushes people. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised he's not got more cards. And I think if I was Warnock, I'd be riling Bakuna up. You know, I'd be telling my players to rile him up.
Nails on. Yeah.
You know, you never know. We saw what it was like at Forest last season. You know, nasty tackle, got a red. So, I think for me, Bakuna, as much as he's played a bit better recently, I've got to give him credit for that. I think he makes my bench. But anyway, sorry, I've done a lot of rambling. But we're going to come to score predictions for this and how you see the game going. I'll just kind of jump in quickly. I can't see us winning this. I think this is going to be a terrible game because, you know, we've not had enough of them recently. But I do see this being a draw. I just think both teams are in really, really bad form. And, you know, I would take a point, to be honest, against Boro because I think Boro are one of those sides that are actually a bit better than the form suggests. So I've gone for 1-1. And I fancy Holmes to get his first. I'm going to go for an extra prediction. So I've gone for that. Tom, what about yourself? Score prediction and how you see the game going?
Well, I have gone 1-1 as well, Brady. Actually, but I did a bit of research because I wanted to sound like I'd done some research for this. So they are a bit of a bogey team for us.
We beat them last game.
Well, we beat them last game, Phil. Yeah,
it can't be that bad.
No, yeah. Before this season, right, we'd not beat them in the league since 2013.
Oof.
And I think that was Alan Lee, Danny Ward, last minute in the fog, as I remember. It was a proper scrappy, like smash and grab. And then before that, there was another 7 losses, and we hadn't beaten them since 1986. So like, that's nearly what was that, like 30 games, and we'd won like 2 or something. And that's bad math then. It's not 30 games, sorry. Like 15, 16 games, and we've only won 2 of them. And I just think that they seem like one of those teams, and I don't know if this happens, Phil, but when you're playing football, do you ever look at a fixture and think, do you know what I mean? Do clubs have that mentality against certain teams?
Yeah, sometimes I think you do, don't you? There's a lot of psychology behind football, isn't there? And I think if you're consistently playing a team that you seem to struggle against, I mean, look at Bristol City. You know, we after that last performance, we played really well, but we've never really performed well down there. I do think there's something in that. Whether there is for Middlesbrough, I'm not sure, but we used to. I never forget, like when we played at reserves, Tranmere away was horrendous. They had a massive mental block on Tranmere on a cold Tuesday night with no fans in there. So, yeah, possibly. But I mean, players change, don't they? So, you know, you kind of just basing that on a club, really. But yeah, possibly. Who knows? It might just be in your head.
It might be in my head.
Just put the jitters in you.
But I just, I know
send me bad vibes.
I know we beat him this season, but I just feel like it just feels. But I think 1-1. I think a nice 1-1 draw, just to get another point on the board. Because I just, like you said, Brady, I don't think we're going to win, and they're doing bad. So I can definitely see us scoring. It depends whether we can keep that score down. I mean, they've shifted quite a lot of goals recently. I mean, conceded 3 to Rotherham. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if Rotherham can go and put 3 past these lot, surely we can get a couple, 1 or 2.
You'd hope.
I mean, we conceded 3 against the team bottom of the league who scored 20 goals, so mate. But I like it 1-1. Anyway, Phil, what about you? How do you see the game going in your score prediction?
I'm sure I predicted well last time. I predicted on one of these. I'm going for 2-1 Middlesbrough.
Oh.
I know. Sorry, I don't like to be negative. I really don't. But I just, I do. I think it's going to be a tough game. I really do.
Why do you think 2-1?
I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be quite. Both teams are struggling, so you're not going to see both teams going out and going crazy. Playing this mad attacking football. I think it's going to be quite attritional, and I think it'd be interesting. I am really interested to see how Corbyn responds, because I'm sure he's received quite a lot of criticism recently. Fans don't want to give criticism. I think they're dying for him to do well, because the football's been good, but I think there has been a little bit out there, and maybe some decisions. 2-0 up for me, something's got to change. Something has got to change in that team. I don't think you can be as free flowing. I think close to half time, I can't imagine every manager trying to tell a team to push for another goal with 5 minutes to go first half. Sit back if you have to, protect your lead at 2-0, and then you go in at 2. Little things like that, it could be questioned. So I think it's going to be quite a tense game, but I just worry that we struggle to score. I really do. Although we scored 2 goals at weekend, which were unbelievable.
As Neil Warnock would say, take the positives out of that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We could go on a run now, a goal scoring.
Well, anyway, as you can probably tell, listeners, we're not feeling the most confident after Wycombe. But who knows? We could be wrong. We could be chatting about a glorious town win, and how close we are to the playoffs now. So who knows? But we will see anyway. I tell you what, I'm not wearing a town shirt like I did at weekend for a run, because I said I'd do it for good luck, and then we lost the bottom of the league. So I won't be wearing that. But we'll see how we get on anyway. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Cheers to my guests, Phil and Tom. Thanks for coming on, lads.
Cheers, Floridas.
No worries, and we'll chat to you next time. All right, take care.
Oh, what a night. Late in May in 2017, Schindler scored, it was a heavenly dream. What a feeling, what a night. Oh, what a night. Wagner singing, we are Premier League. The greatest sight, St. George's Square at sea. What an evening, what a night. Oh, I got a funny feeling when he walks and a fence, and then the commentator yelled he takes that chance. Oh, what a night. Lost so safe and mesmerizing me. Low charge and flattened all Chelsea. Stamford Bridge, oh what a night. Whoa, I got a funny feeling when he walks and a fence, and then the commentator yelled he takes that chance.